The NCAA has set the stage for a dramatic restructuring of college sports with the release of a draft of a new constitution, which would provide Division I the autonomy to reshape everything from how revenue is shared to how rules are made and enforced. So Division I is going to break off from everybody else. And you may be saying to yourself, well, Greeny, Division I football, that already exists. I get that. That's not what's going to be impacted by this directly as much as basketball. But do you know what will never be the same again? The NCAA tournament. There is a story that I've had in my file for a while and I haven't gotten to. But Bob Huggins, who's been around forever and is now coaching at West Virginia, told ESPN's Myron Metcalf the major conferences should create their own postseason event and ditch the NCAA tournament. He said, they're doing it in football. Why wouldn't we do it? The presidents and ADs have all the juice. Why wouldn't they do it? Why, the questions, he says, are more why wouldn't they than why would they? And when asked about the Cinderella schools, he said, those Cinderella schools are putting 200 people in their gym. We're putting 14,000. And so that brings us to the question of the day.
You ask these questions.
Greeny's question of the day.
The impact on collegiate sports, as we know them, of this is going to be enormous. Hembo, what you played Division III baseball?
Division II baseball.
Division II baseball. So I mean, all of that is all of the money that these schools get by competing in anything that Division I is included in. The TV money of that is billions of dollars. So all these smaller schools are going to wind up having to cut programs, get rid of them, all that stuff. That's a given. The question is, will you like the NCAA tournament less without the Cinderellas? That's the question. When you get to see the small school, when Hampton beat Iowa State, when I forget who it was that beat Michigan State a couple of years ago, a 15 beating
Norfolk,
a 2.
Norfolk State.
Whoever it was, doesn't matter. The point of it is, it's these little Cinderella schools. Mm-hmm. Lots of people went to them. Lots of people get excited watching them. Whatever the case may be, will it take away? Will your love of the NCAA tournament be diminished if they no longer have the small schools in them? First up, Hembo.
Yes, it will be diminished. I view the NCAA tournament as almost sacred. It's like the best thing that we have. And I'm not one to squelch innovation, but if we're going to make changes to something that we all universally love, we should be very cautious in doing so. The reason the format works so well in part is because of the David versus Goliath thing. Like, Goliath didn't fight like a slightly smaller giant in the Bible and become a story. I like the format as we have it right now. I would be very hesitant to change.
Fair enough. That's one opinion there. Nuno, I'll come to you next. Will it diminish your interest in and love of the NCAA tournament if you take out the Cinderellas?
No, you'll miss it like that first Thursday, Friday, but after that, at the end of the day, you just want to see the best teams out there. I think maybe you decide then to scale back the tournament a little in terms of not having 64 teams. But no, I'm all in still.
Okay, so we got one no and one yes, and now I come to Bubba, and many of you may not know this, but prior to Bubba's tenure here in radio, Bubba was actually the athletic director at multiple Division III schools. I forget, was it two NESCAC schools and then one in the Missouri Valley, whatever it was?
Yeah, two of those and then one OVC as well.
It was an OVC. Yeah. So with that as your background, will it diminish your interest in the NCAA tournament if they don't have the Cinderellas?
Oh, yeah, I would say 100%, and I would say it'll diminish the majority of people's for sure, because I think the thing that everyone does on that Thursday, Friday is you gather around, you go to the bar, you watch it, and you root for the underdog, the Cinderella, and you pull for them to win. If you don't have that, that's a major loss. And I think, to Hembo's point, it's something that they're innovating that they don't need to change, and it would be a huge loss if all of a sudden you're not having these small schools have these upsets. That's a huge loss to me.
To be clear, they're not innovating anything. They're keeping the money for themselves.
Right.
This is not an innovation. It's not a change they would make because they think it would make it better. It is a change they would make because they don't want to share all of this
just
money
keep more money, right,
with everybody else.
And to Nuno's point, they're certainly not going to make less teams. They'd probably keep more. They'd put more teams in. Yeah, and it would just be all, Power 5 teams.
That's possible. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.